Okay, hi everyone. I just wanted to check in and make sure you all feel comfortable creating your own online course. So, this will be a little mix of going through the process with an instructional design mindset, and then also incorporated with some of the design tools. I can still meet with people to go over that, and I'm going to be scheduling an appointment with one of y'all. And so let me know. But I wanted to go over okay, so whenever you go into your sandbox, so you'll go ahead and follow my instructions on creating your sandbox. And when you do, it should look something like this. So it should say something to create a new module, add existing content, and notice in a sense you don't really have your home page yet. So excuse me, I'm going to be possibly coughing at various times because I have a little bit of a cold, so forgive me for that. Excuse me. Okay, so here, what you want to do first is probably go ahead and go to pages on the left-hand side. Now, the reason why you want to do this first is so that you can go ahead and start creating your home page. So let me go back to home and notice that it is that empty options here, and notice that there's going to be certain things that are grayed out. Now, the reason why they're grayed out is not because you can't access them, but it's because you haven't created any of those options yet. So you haven't made any announcements, you haven't done any assignments. So you should start off with pages, but you haven't created any pages yet. Now, some of you who have been in instructional design in Canvas, you might have a different strategy, but for me, I kind of want to create a landing page for myself and for the course to help me acclimate myself to the course. So let's go ahead and start with pages. Excuse me. And you're going to go ahead and click on plus page, which means to go ahead and create a page. And I'm going to go ahead and call this welcome. You always want to make the students in your course feel welcome, but it depends. Some of you might want to do home page or landing page or maybe table of contents. So to help us with the design, now we could, if you're familiar with HTML, or if you wanted to just kind of do your own thing, you could start creating your own pages, but I'm going to make a pitch. Why do that when we have design tools? So let's go ahead and do design tools here, and let's use it even as a way to get started. So you can go to design tools. Now that was a little fast, so let me go ahead and do that again. So once you go ahead and create your page, type in how you want to title it up here in the top left. And you want to start building your page in this area down here below the editing bar. You're going to go ahead in the top right where the design tools are based on the tutorials you saw. Click on it, and you can also Alt-Shift-D as well. Go to customize, or excuse me, go to create and edit content. So the way that they've designed design tools is quite chronological. So the first option is generally where people start. So create, edit content, and you're going to go ahead and choose a theme. So that's going to be the third option. Click on choose a theme, and notice that it starts you off with basic pages, but we're talking about creating a landing page, a front page. So instead of keeping it at basic page over here to the right, you're going to go ahead and choose front page. And that way you can go ahead and create your landing page, and go through them, see which one you like, and think about it, about maybe which ones might be more functional for users, more user-friendly, which ones you like, what kind of gives the vibe of the course. It's very interesting that the university or even City Labs, who created design tools, gives you so many of these options that aren't necessarily super user-friendly. So in our design shop, there are kind of only a certain number that we actually end up using. And one of the ones that I personally enjoy using is a flat section. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. And notice that there's going to be little information things that pop up. So notice that below this option, you see information. The recommended image ratio for this theme is 10:3. So basically that's saying that the banner image should be a 10:3 ratio, so that it's not maybe too tall or too short, so that it doesn't necessarily fit the page so well. So you basically want to be able to find an image that you can crop to a 10:3 ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And notice that it pops up here. Now I have the beginnings of my text, my welcome page, some startup options here, and I can go ahead and add modules, and I'll show you how to do that later. So now with this, notice that the screen sharing that you're seeing right now is on my Mac computer, and it's a 13-inch screen. So if I was doing this on maybe like one of my work computers that have a larger monitor, you'll see that you'll have more space. But if you have like a 13-inch laptop like I do, this is going to be your working space size. You could command plus or minus, or I believe it's control plus or minus on the PC to make your screen smaller or bigger, so that it might be more user-friendly for you as you're creating. So up here, I think some of you have named your course numbers, if you're pretending like if you were teaching it in a higher education setting, or you might call it maybe the course of in a quick K-12 setting. For our purposes here, and I think someone has named their course this already, it's going to be ABC 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do welcome. And now the next steps that we should take are, okay, well, what are the modules? Now, you're going to be like, well, if you saw the tutorial, one of the options in creating the module list on a landing page is in Advanced Elements over here to the right. And you click on that, and you go to the module list, and you can choose modules. And in this situation, you're going to go and be like, where are my modules? I can't add modules. And correct, you can't do that at this time because you haven't created any yet. So what I would do next after creating your landing page is to then go ahead, and which is why also, if you wanted to kind of follow the instructions of Canvas, they took you to modules first. Now, over here to the left again, we see modules. And you can go ahead and create a new module. And let's go ahead and call it Module 1, Introductions. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and add that. And then once you start creating your modules, now I want to conceptually, I think we talked about this with the course map. Your course map should already indicate how many modules you want to create. So you can go ahead and do creating modules by going to modules over here to the left in the navigation, and then going ahead and creating one module at a time, one by one. But some of you who have watched the tutorial about the City Labs products notice that there's also a multi-tool option, which allows you to really start generating things in a quick and fast way. So we could use that to start populating more than one module. But what I would do is try to do your milestone module first before going to the multi-tool, because once you get to the multi-tool, then you can go ahead and start duplicating things very quickly as a template. But until you've established like pages and assignments and quizzes, it's really not really that useful to use the multi-tool just yet. So here we are with our first module, Module 1, Introductions, and we're going to go ahead and go to the plus sign here, excuse me, and then go ahead and choose which one do you want to start with. Now, in my course, you've seen that I usually start with a page, and let me go over, and I'm sorry this might be a little basic for some people, but some of you who don't really have much experience with learning management systems, I'm going to go over the definitions here a little bit. So a quiz is basically, well, let me back it up some more. So in the teaching world, anything that we assign to a student, we know that they're an assignment. But in Canvas, an assignment is basically something that needs to be submitted. So like a paper or an infographic like you saw, that is qualified as an assignment. A quiz will generally be what we've seen with quizzes with multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blanks, and then files. You can even upload files and then have that be a part of your module. Pages will be basically almost like website pages where it's just blank and you can go ahead and just put information. Excuse me. And then discussions where you want to have discussions. Text headers, sometimes you just want to make your module list a little bit more defined with headers, so that's there. Any external URLs and any external tools. So those of you who are either using YellowDig or wanting to try out YellowDig or PlayPosit, you're going to have to enable the external tool for that. All right. Or you can also embed the share code on a page. Okay, so I know that was a bit of a foreign language for some people, so if you have any questions, do let me know. So let's go ahead and get started with page. Let's go ahead, and we already established welcome as our landing page, and let's go ahead and click on new page and title that module 1 overview. Okay, so then let's go ahead and add that. And then as part of this page, similar to what we did with, and what I did was just clicked on Module 1 Overview. Similar to what we did with the landing page, I'm going to go ahead and edit my page. In the top right, Launch Design Tools. And again, go ahead and look for a theme. So I'm going to create and edit content, choose a theme, and instead of going to front page, I'm going to go ahead and look at basic pages, and I'm going to choose the same theme like called flat sections. And notice that when I choose that one, only the header pops up. So I'm going to go ahead and say ABC, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, excuse me. And then now, like, oh crap, what do I do now that I've created this header? Let's go ahead and start adding the different components. So when you've chosen a theme, you can go ahead and deselect it, so that kind of like gives you some more space, and go up to add or rearrange content blocks. So go ahead and click on that. And notice that there's no blocks. Now, the reason why the word blocks is used is because think of this page just being built with blocks of specific things. So you might have a block where you're talking about learning objectives, a block where you're talking about what your readings are, and so on and so forth. So over here in the top, we have just our banner right now. So you see that's there, and that's highlighted when I do that. So when I go ahead and add a block, notice that City Labs has already given me all these options. And so I want to have an introduction. So I'm going to have plus and add it to my list. Now, the reason why you want to use blocks and not just start typing is because if you start typing and making your own headers and you want to rearrange things, you kind of have to do some heavy copy and pasting and switching around. If you use blocks, let's say we do introduction, objectives, readings, lectures, assignments, let's say. Now notice that all these icons come with that. And let's say if I want you or any other students to do assignments before lectures for whatever reason, I can just go ahead and move these blocks around instead of having to copy and paste and mess with the formatting. So you really want to make sure that you create these blocks so that's just really easy to edit in the long run. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that order back in there with objectives, readings, lectures, assignments, so on and so forth. Okay, great. So so I have this here, and you want to go ahead and make sure that after you're done with things like this, you go ahead and save. Now, the next step that I'd like to do is, let's say once you finish your module, let's go back to modules. Now, notice that the word modules is still not in that dark black. It's still grayed out because you haven't published it. So you can go ahead, and I cannot emphasize this so much because as much as I can, I've been in so many situations where I'm like, oh man, why can't the students see it? Or why is this not appearing? And oftentimes it's, okay, Brenda, you didn't publish it. So go ahead and this is not our situation. You can go ahead and publish it. And then here, let's go ahead and add some assignments. Oops, sorry, I have to call the assignment. So I'm going to call it assignment 1. Let's say we had a discussion. Let's go ahead and call it discussion 1. Okay, and that's probably good enough right now for our example. So I'm going to put this in this order for now. I'm going to go ahead and publish them. And you can always depublish if you need to. And what I want to start using, and let's say I finalize how I want all these things to look, and I'm going to go ahead and use the multi-tool to help me produce these modules. Let's say I know I'm going to have at least 4 modules. Let's say I'm creating a training. So what I'm going to do is go to Settings down here in the bottom left, and I am going to go ahead and go to Apps. Oh, I'm sorry, not Apps. I'm going to go in Navigation. So again, go to Navigation to enable multi-tools. Then scroll down. Now notice that the things that are live over here into your left navigation bar are the things that are listed up here. So there are a lot more things down here that haven't been activated. So the multi-tools is one of them. You're going to go ahead and take multi-tool, drag it all the way up here so that it's activated. Scroll down. Don't forget to scroll down because that way it'll save. And then once it saves, notice that, hey, multi-tool is here. So let's go ahead and go to multi-tool and open that. And once you do, hey, you can start building your modules. So let's go ahead and click on Module Builder, and it's going to pull our module data. And look, our Module 1 is here. And when you click on it, you can see how we have a Module 1 overview, an assignment, and discussion. So what we want to do is, let's say we had 4 modules, right? So let's go ahead and make 4. So how many, let's scroll down. So new modules. Do we have any module prefixes? We say the word module, so definitely module. How many modules do we want to create? We want to do 4, and we've already done 1, so 3. 3 more. What is the starting number? Well, we already made module 1, so let's go ahead and start with 2. So now let's go ahead, and these are all the things we want to duplicate. So let's go ahead and hit General Module List, or Generate Module List, excuse me. Okay, great. So notice that modules 2, 3, 4 have been created, and excuse me. Then you then also want to add any assignments and discussions that we have, right? So notice that when you add the assignments and discussions, you can name your own assignment and discussion again, or you can go ahead and choose assignment 1 as your template and discussion 1 as your template. You can already designate them by points, or how many points you want the task to be, what kind of submission type for the assignments, if it's going to be online, on paper, no submission. excuse me, and then you're going to go ahead and let's say regenerate module list in this case. All right, and then scroll down. Perfect. So here you see that when I first generated the module list, and only generated the modules, but no assignments and discussions. And when I went back and copied one assignment, one discussion, based it on the template, it then and regenerated the module list, it populated the modules with the assignments and the discussions. And again, I know this is a lot of information being thrown at you. So if you, again, do the best you can with this video, and if some of the things are still not clear, let me know, and I'd be happy to kind of sit and watch what you're doing and give you some tips. All right? Okay, great. So now that you've created this, let's go to our modules list. Okay, look, it didn't show up. So let's go ahead, and I probably didn't save what I needed to save. So let's go back to multi-tools, module builder. Okay, so correct. So now that I've created the modules, I still need to do an extra step. And notice that if you're not ready to add to the modules to the course, you can save your progress. But we'll just go ahead and add the modules to the course. And it's doing that right now. Excuse me. All right, so we're waiting. All right, great. All right, so let's go to the modules list. And now notice that our modules have been created. They're not published, and so I'm just going to go ahead and publish them just to publish them. And some of you might be like, well, I don't know if I really want to use the multi-tool because I'm going to have different assignments or I'm going to have different discussions. And I would agree. I mean, if it's going to be so different that there's not necessarily anything to be duplicated, it would just be almost like placeholders, you may want to go ahead and create them individually. But I know for me, and you saw in our course, that even the assignments and the discussions have certain banners and certain formatting things that to have to copy the HTML or to reduplicate every time, or by hand, it would be a bit challenging. So even if I'm just having the same content duplicated into multiple modules and then going in, let's say, into module 2, assignment 1, and then editing it to be more specific, I still feel like it saves time. Now, another thing you can do that I really love about Canvas, if you want some more control, you don't want to necessarily use the multi-tool, they have made it that you can go ahead and click on these 3 dots right here, and you can duplicate the module just in the module list. Or if you have something specific, you can go into the assignments and then duplicate those as well. Now, just as a little note, if you have a quiz, to my knowledge, the quiz for some reason trumps the duplication. So if your module has a quiz, you won't be able to duplicate the module. So you might want to go ahead and add quizzes last. Also, quizzes aren't able to be duplicated. So you might want to go, again, tackle your course without the quizzes, and then at the end, go ahead and create your quizzes. But in the multi-tool, you'll be able to create multiple blank quizzes. All right, so I hope that helps. Now, once you've created your modules, you might want to go ahead and set the prerequisites like I have. And I know some of you might be like, oh, I wish you would just open all the modules. But I think that really helps to kind of get you the feedback for during the module itself or around that time. And it also helps me to pace with my grading as well. So if you're interested in setting prerequisites or due dates for these modules, go ahead and click on the 3 dots of the module level. Go ahead and click edit. And then here you can go ahead and lock until and go ahead and set your date, or you can go ahead and add the requirement where what do the students need to do. Now usually there's not necessarily any requirements in Module 1, but let's go to Module 2 and hit edit. And let's say there we do want to lock for, let's say, Monday. And we do want to add a prerequisite, Monday, April 22nd, and prerequisite that they need to do Module 1. All right, so, and then I do want to add a requirement that students need to go through things in a sequential order. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and update my module, and that's what it's going to be like. Now, you can also, not just to make it simply that students, in order to advance to Module 2 or Module 3, just have to complete the module before. You can even make it so that, for example, students have to submit assignments or earn a certain grade on a quiz in order to advance. And you would do that in the next module, if I remember correctly. You go to edit. You go ahead and add prerequisites. Actually, hold on, let me see. Oh, excuse me. Let me go back to Module 2. You would go ahead and hit edit, and remember how we clicked on sequential order? Sorry, I skipped this part. You can go ahead and complete one of these requirements as well, or actually not even click on one of the ones. They have to go through sequential order. We want to make them complete all of these requirements. Actually, we want them to go to assignment 1, and we want them to actually submit the assignment. We want them to go to discussions and then at least contribute to the page, or excuse me, submit the assignment and then update the module. Excuse me. So in this case, we've kind of set up these parameters, and then in the quiz you can actually type in how much you want them to score. Okay, so pretty good. We're doing really well and getting our content in. So you just go ahead and use your course map, your blueprint, get your content in. Now go to home, and let's go ahead and, oh, notice that our module list is our home. So remember that welcome page we created? If we want to go ahead and make that, this is the part about Canvas that I'm not necessarily thrilled with. You want to go ahead and choose home page, but when you choose home page, you don't necessarily see that page that we created, and it's because the front page must be set first. So let's go back to pages. Let's go to our welcome page, which we also need to publish. Let's go ahead and publish that. Now let's go ahead and hit the 3 dots here, and here you see the option of using it as a front page. So once we do that, the page is marked as a front page. And what you then do is, let's go back to home again, and here we'll see the module list. And you want to welcome people rather than just dumping them into the module list, unless you have a note in the module list, like a header. You can go ahead and then choose home page. Now let's go ahead and choose that welcome page. Notice pages, front page, welcome. Go ahead and choose that now. Now that's going to be our home page. And we're saving. Great. So now that we have this as our home page, if we click on modules, it'll take us to our module list, because the template already nicely associates that module link already, and the other links you'll have to activate. But when students click on that module link, they'll be taken to the module list. So let's go to the home page. And but you want to make, even though students could click on the modules, you maybe want them to have that preview like what we have in our class, to see what is ahead, what we've taken, etc. So you're going to go to edit, and like what we talked about earlier, go to design tools, and you're going to go to advanced elements, module list, and you're going to go ahead and add and configure the module list. And now notice that all our modules popped up. And something cool about this is that you can go ahead and choose how many columns you want. Where do you want the module list to link to? The first item in your module list or the module page itself? Personally, I like the module page itself so that then people get used to the module list. Other people like them to be linked to that module overview so they kind of already are just dumped into a certain module. It's up to you. I'm not going to make you say one way or the other. Sorry, my mom just popped up with a Facebook message. She sells teddy bears. So then we're going to go ahead, and another thing that you can do is this quick link thing, quick links thing isn't so intuitive. Notice that right now it's none, but if you go ahead and click on current, it basically will tell you which module is the current module that you should be in. Now, we haven't set the dates, so that's why the system can't read it. But let's go ahead and set all. And then once we hit all, what we want to do is go ahead and save your page. And notice now your module list is nicely listed in these buttons, and students can go ahead and navigate in this front page to where they want to go rather than necessarily going into the modules list. So then this comes up to another design question of, then do you want this redundancy? Do you want a modules over here to the left to then have a modules over here in design tools and then a module preview down here? I would at least say choose one of the two over here and then just keep the modules here on the left. That way people get used to going to the navigation bar to the left, but then also know that they have some advantages in front of them. Okay, so there's so many more things I can tell you, but I wanted to at least talk to you about my expectations, also to get your feet wet with what can get you started with creating modules and pages and assignments and discussions, etc. And then let you have a good homepage and also give you some tidbits with design tools. So I really hope this video helps. And again, if you really do have any questions, please let me know. I'm trying not to use as much jargon, but it's just something that's second nature, and then also some things that it's hard to really articulate what else to call, for example, module or the drop down or the home page, front page, etc. And again, I know those aren't necessarily super hard to understand, but anything that's jargony and not easy to understand, please let me know. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, and again, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this video has helped. All right, talk to you all soon.